Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well. So today we are going to do the next question of our agriculture optional answer writing practice series. जो हमारी एग्रीकल्चर ऑप्शनल आंसर राइटिंग प्रैक्टिस सीरीज है उसके नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन को आज हम लोग करने वाले हैं. एंड टुडेज क्वेश्चन इज discuss the cultivation practices for cauliflower considering the following points: soil and climate requirement, varieties, seed rate and sowing time, nursery raising and transplanting method, management of psychological disorders, and harvest yield. So we have to discuss cultivation practices, or we can say package of practices of cauliflower using these terms. Okay, so this question was asked in Indian Forest Service examination, that is agriculture optional paper of Indian Forest Service examination in 2003, and it becomes important for us. So cauliflower, as I always tell you, that all the important crops for paper 1 prepared all the important cereal crops, all the important pulse crops, especially which are covered under MSP, prepare all those. Secondly, for paper 2, all the horticulture crops, that is important fruits, important vegetables, and important flowers, because they have to give package of practices for at least 2 to 4 crops per year. In paper 1, at least you will get 2 questions regarding package of practices, and in paper 2 you will also get 2 questions around of for package of practices. ठीक है, तो आप देख सकते हो कि दोस्त 3 से 4 क्वेश्चन तो आपको पैकेज ऑफ प्रैक्टिसेस का आएगा ही. सो यू शुड बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर इट. ठीक है, पेपर 1 और पेपर 2 मिला करके. सो लेट्स सी हाउ वी अप्रोच दिस आंसर. सो फर्स्ट वन इज soil and climate requirement. So cauliflower, we all know that it is a very important fruit. Sorry, not fruit, it is a very important vegetable. We all know it. Cauliflower is a very important vegetable, and we found this vegetable. अब जनरली अगर नॉर्थ इंडिया में हो या फिर साउथ इंडिया में, अब जनरली आप देखोगे ठंड के मौसम में you will find cauliflower in winters. From the month of October, November till you get it from November generally हम लेते हैं. From the November, October, November से ये आपको जनरली कब तक देखने को मिलेगा? Till February, March. Okay, March, sometimes April तक, because we have now varieties, we have later varieties, early varieties, so we can go till April also. So this was something about cauliflower. Now let's move to the package of practices. So first one is soil and climate requirement. So generally, like most of the crops, cauliflower grow very nicely in loamy soils, deep loamy soils. ये तो मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ, अगर आपको सॉइल रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं पता है जनरली क्रॉप्स का, ठीक है, जनरल क्रॉप्स चाहे वो वेजिटेबल हो या सेरियल क्रॉप्स है, सॉइल रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं पता है तो उसमें लोमी सॉइल्स लिख दो, बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ द क्रॉप्स ग्रो वेल इन लोमी सॉइल्स. तो डीप लोमी सॉइल्स इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. वेयर हियर pH range जो सॉइल का इट शुड बी अराउंड 5.5 to 6.6, दैट इज स्लाइटली एसिडिक. स्लाइटली, ऐसा नहीं कि पूरा एसिडिक होना चाहिए, 5 स्लाइटली एसिडिक टुवर्ड्स न्यूट्रल. ओके, 5.5 to 6.6 is a good pH range for it. The soil should contain high organic matter. The organic matter of the soil should be good. The soil drainage of soil should be good. Good drainage. ये सब तो कॉमन पॉइंट्स है. मैं जैसे बोलता हूँ डीप लोमी और गुड ड्रेनेज, इट ऑलमोस्ट विल सूट फॉर मोस्ट ऑफ द क्रॉप्स. इसलिए अगर नहीं पता है तो भाई डीप लोमी सॉइल्स लिख दो, गुड ड्रेनेज लिख दो, पीएच स्लाइटली न्यूट्रल के आसपास कुछ लिख दो, पर पीएच नहीं मेंशन करना नहीं पता है तो, क्योंकि कुछ क्रॉप स्लाइटली एसिडिक में थ्राइव करते हैं, कुछ स्लाइटली बेसिक में थ्राइव करते हैं, तो पीएच में मेंशन करना. डू मेंशन लोमी सॉइल्स बिकॉज इट इज फॉर ऑलमोस्ट ऑल द क्रॉप्स, एंड गुड ड्रेनेज. दीज टू पॉइंट्स आर वेरी कॉमन, सो यू कैन मेंशन इट. So this is about soil. Now when it comes to climate, it generally grows in cool moist climates. That is why you see cauliflowers generally in winter months, because they require cool and moist climates, that is from subtropical to temperate climates. Generally you see what I hope you have mentioned these things. I need to mention some things. So generally there are 2 types of varieties for cauliflower: the early varieties and late varieties. Okay, late. And there are also 2 types of other types, that is hill varieties and plain varieties. hill varieties and plain varieties. तो देखो यहाँ पे ध्यान देना, you should notice here that early varieties are those varieties which will tolerate a little bit of warm season or warm climate. They can tolerate little bit of warm season and they can grow generally from May to July depending on the variety. मई टू जुलाई में ये होता है. और लेट वराइटीज आर नॉट एबल टू टॉलरेट, ये जनरली जो अपने हमारे नॉर्मल रिक्वायरमेंट दैट इज सितंबर टू फरवरी, सितंबर अराउंड में इसको हम लोग सो करते हैं, सोइंग टाइम बता रहा हूँ, ठीक है, ये अराउंड जून जुलाई में होता है, ये सितंबर टाइम में. वहीं अगर आप हिल्स एंड प्लेन, व्हेन यू गो टू हिल वैरायटी एंड प्लेन वैरायटी, तो हिल वैरायटी कैन बी सोन अर्ली because the temperature of hills are cooler, so that can be sown early around May to July and June July. And plain varieties are generally sown late because here the temperature is a little bit warmer as compared to hill, so they are generally sown around September. So this you need to know. I hope you are able to understand this. Now let's move to the second point, that is variety, seed rate and sowing time. Also I have already discussed something about varieties here, so I hope you understand this. Now when it comes to the name of varieties, as I see, the hill varieties, common hill varieties are UT1, we have got Pusa the Poli, Cuba Giant. Cuba Giant also has a good shape of cauliflower. The shape and size of the cauliflower is big here. Cuba Giant, Snowball. So these are the hill varieties. Now when it comes to the plain varieties, so common plain varieties are Pawas, Patna mid season. Mid season, that is, it is an early variety. Patna mid season, Arka Kanti. So these are the common plain varieties. So I hope you are able to notice the names. Uti is a hill station, so hill variety Uti, the Poli, Cuba Giant, Snowball, these are the common hill varieties. And when it comes to plain varieties, Pawas, Patna mid season, Arka Kanti. So these are the common hill plain varieties. So I hope you can remember these names and write these names in your notes so that you are able to revise it. So this was variety. Now let's move to seed rate. So I hope you understand these things. So I am removing this, and this you can also mention these things in the varieties. It will be helpful about early varieties, late varieties, their sowing time. The seed rate of cauliflower is around 375 gram per hectare. It is around, it can be 350 to, you can mention it 350 to 400 gram per hectare, depending on also varieties. Also sowing time, the early varieties can be sown little bit earlier, early and hill varieties, that is that is around June to July, sometimes May also, and the late varieties are generally sown in around September. So this is the sowing time. I hope you are able to understand. So I hope you understand varieties, seed rate and sowing time. Now let's move to nursery raising and transplanting method. So it is generally grown in nursery. So 100 square meter of nursery is enough for planting in 1 hectare. Okay. Here we need to, as we know that it requires high amount of organic matter, so FYM is needed, borax is needed. Borax because sometimes cauliflower when there is lack of borax, or you can say borax needed because, okay, I will discuss this in psychological management. There you will be able to understand. Here we have to also discuss psychological disorders, so you will be able to understand. Here just remember for here that we need FIM, we need borax, and so these are the common things. We also sometimes need copper, oxychloride. So these things should be kept in mind while planting in nursery or raising in nursery. We need to use raised seed beds because drainage is very important here. In raised seed beds we will get good drainage. So these are the something we need to keep in mind while raising in nursery. Also we can raise it in protected nursery, that is under protected nursery it can be also raised, that in under sometimes under greenhouses etc. it will be raised. And after it is transplanted, Uh, After 25 days for early varieties transplanting, after 25 days for early varieties, so early varieties needs to be transplanted early, and for late varieties it can be for about 45 days. 45 days for late varieties, and we should keep in mind that the transplanting should be the distance between two rows should be around 45 centimeter, between two rows and two crops should be around 45 centimeter. So 45 into 45 centimeters should be the distance of when we are planting. So this is about nursery grading and transplanting. I hope you are able to understand some points which you can mention your answer. Now move to the important thing which you need to remember very nicely, because this is some unique properties, unique psychological disorders are there in cauliflowers, so you need to manage here. The first psychological disorder is brown rot. It is sometimes also known as browning, but generally known as brown rot. So it is caused due to the deficiency of boron. Deficiency of boron. That is why you will see that we apply borax, so that the boron deficiency could be removed or managed. So brown rot generally occurs due to boron deficiency, and how we can manage? Through applying in borax. That is why you see here we are applying borax in nursery management. So this is the first one, brown rot. The second psychological disorder is whiptail. It is due to the deficiency of molybdenum deficiency. So, and you always see that molybdenum deficiency will be more seen in acidic soils. So it is due to this molybdenum deficiency, and here we need to apply sodium molybdate. Sodium molybdate to cater the to manage the molybdenum deficiency. Third psychological disorder is buttoning. This means that we have the curds, what is curd? What we eat of cauliflower, these are the leaves, and this is the portion which is known as curd. So what happens in buttoning? The curd size of cauliflower remains small curds and underdeveloped curds. Okay, curds, or you can say buttons. So these are already small or rather underdeveloped. So it is generally happening due to the deficiency of nitrogen deficiency, or generally it happens when we plant early varieties late. When early varieties are planted late, so they generally we will generally see them with small cuts. That is why what we need to how we need to manage here, we need to plant early varieties in time. We have to not delay their planting, and we have to manage nitrogen. So nitrogen management can be done here through applying good amount of farmyard manure, good amount of nitrogen fertilizers while nursery management, etc. So this can be done while buttoning. The next one is blindness. So I hope you will able to understand brown rot, boron deficiency, and borax. So I will mention here blindness. Number 4, blindness. So here what happens are here the cauliflowers will be growing without terminal buds. Without terminal buds, and this is due to the presence of low temperatures, or we can say that when plants are young and they are exposed to low temperatures, so they generally have to suffer from blindness. So we need to mention here that we need to grow our crops before the winters are entering. So the sowing time should be good, that is September or before it. Delaying the sowing time after October, if we are delaying the sowing time for November, then there are huge chances for blindness. So we'll keep in mind that we will sow them in time, we will handle them properly. Sometimes blindness also occurs due to damage of the crops while transplanting it or while removing it from the nursery. So handling should be good, and we need to protect it from pests. Pest damage is also can lead to blindness, so we need to protect it from pests. So So these are the some of the psychological disorders, and this is how we can manage them. So I hope you are able to understand this. Now move to the last one, that is harvest and yield. So generally it is harvested after 100 to 120 days. After 120 days, that is early varieties which are grown in June can be harvested after September, October. In October, November it can be harvested easily, and late varieties which are grown sometime September can be harvested till February, January, February. So this is what about harvesting. We need to harvest, it takes around 100 to 120 days in maturing. We also need to keep in mind that we will harvest mature curds or mature buttons. That is, curds size should be as per the requirement. It should be not too much aged. That is, curd size. Sometimes what happens, farmers to increase the size of curds, they delayed the harvest. So that also gives low market value because the big curds are not preferred by the customers. So we need to harvest mature curds of good sizes which are preferred by customers. So curd size in harvesting is very important. Secondly, yield. When it comes to yield of cauliflower, so there are different yields for a hill growing and plains grown. The cauliflowers which are grown on hills will give you yield of around 20 to 30 ton per hectare, and which are grown on plains will give you 15 to 20 ton per hectare. The difference is because the situation in hills, the climate in hills are more favorable to cauliflower as compared to plains, because they need cool and moist climate. That is why you can see in hills the yield is higher as compared to plains. So I hope you are able to understand this. So this was all about package of practices of cauliflowers. I hope you understand all the points. So that is all for today. Please do like, please do share, and please do subscribe. It takes a lot of hard work to make such videos for you on regular basis, and if you like, if you share, if you subscribe, it motivates us to make more such videos for you on regularly. So that is all for today. Have a nice day. Thank you.